4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
I'm Lovey. And we want to welcome you back to yet another episode. Like we always talk about. Well, first off, before I even go there, for those of you that are new to the podcast, we are a couple that have been married for going on 29 years.
I'm like, get it right, bro. Okay, good.
Going on 29 years. And we've been through some things, right? So through the years, go back and watch some of the episodes, listen to it. There's 300 plus, so you can go all the way back to the beginning and catch up. But the bottom line is,
We got that many?
I got stabbed through the heart before we even said I do by her ex-boyfriend, and had to have 2 open heart surgeries. And we made it through that just to get to the altar to say I do. And then 4 years later,
I said I wanted a divorce on our 4th anniversary at Morton's in between, what do you say, the cream spinach and something else. I don't know, he likes to say that like that really matters, but just, okay, putting that out there.
it matters. If it was some French fries or something at McDonald's, that's one thing. But we have Morton's. But anyway, so you can tell that, and we still talk 29 years later. It's still a point of contention.
Yeah.
But we made it through. Look, we had to go through coaching, counseling. We bought books. I didn't read them. We saw a bunch of individuals, and we even had some individuals pouring into us. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, a lot of prayer and a lot of people actually stood up for us, and we found our way back to each other, back to that love. But we decided that we needed to become that couple that we needed when we were going through things.
And that is actually where Married into Crazy was born, even though we didn't know that that's what was happening. But it came out of that experience. So for you who don't know, CRAZY is an acronym. It stands for
Compassionate,
real,
accountable,
zealous,
and yielding.
Why
does she make me say yielding? That's what I want to know.
I don't make you. I mean, it just happened to be that way.
And that's our daily.
And that's the thing right there too. So we always say you could be a little bit more crazy in your relationship. Everyone can be more crazy in their marriage. You just happen to need more compassion, more accountability, and more yielding. So I'm just saying.
So you see how this goes. Wait, look, welcome to the show. Before we jump into it, got to remind you that if you want to see all the different ways that we pour into marriages and long-term committed relationships, go to marriedintocrazy.com. And while you're there, you're going to see that there's a tab that says Winter Ball. And this is a reminder that February 6th and 7th in Sacramento, we will be having the Married into Crazy Winter Ball and Marriage Conference.
Yep.
We've got a dynamic lineup of speakers that are going to be speaking on Saturday, pouring into marriages, which includes 10 times Grammy Award winning artist Joel Kibble of Take 6. He's going to be there talking, not singing, but talking.
He might sing.
He might sing a bar or two. I don't know. I might throw some change on the stage. But he's going to be pouring into folks, as will so many other individuals there, making sure that we're all elevating our marriages. But before we even get there,
what?
On Friday
night, the theme is denim, diamond, and dancing. So come ready to get your boogie on, get your dance on. We'll have Cree, who is one of the original Chicago Steppers. She's going to be actually doing some soul line dancing. That's going to be part of the festivities.
Look,
We're
she's
going to
be
dinner.
leading it. You're going to be the one doing the soul line dancing.
You too.
And me too.
Yeah, Lovey gonna get out there.
I'm gonna step on some toes. I'm just letting you know.
We gonna give you a whole side by your own
It's
self.
gonna be fun though. We're gonna feed you. We're gonna dance, set the tone, set the stage for the next day. We're gonna have food trucks there on Saturday. We're gonna take care of you. You can get your tickets, and there's a variety of different options. You can get the full weekend, the full package. You can get a Saturday only, or you can do virtual. So it doesn't even matter if you can't make it to Sacramento. You can always tune in virtually and get that Saturday only option. So there's a lot of different ways that we're reaching out to really leave no excuses on the table so you can elevate your marriage and become that much more crazy.
But if you are within driving distance, or even if you want to fly in, please come and see us. It's going to be so much fun. We had a great time in February. We're looking to do more of the same. It's going to be a lot of fun. Everyone who went last time, they just talked about how much fun they had, how much they learned, and you even get a chance to meet different couples.
So many people last year said, we want to come, and then they didn't. And then afterwards, when they saw the recap, so many people were like, we're going to be there next year. We should have been there. Look, be in the room. Be there. We have people flying in that are committed, that bought their tickets, bought their plane tickets, that are coming in from Maryland, that are coming in from Florida, coming in from all the way, coast to coast. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be there too. So go to marriedintocrazy.com and get your tickets. But here's the thing. Our podcast is all about you. It's all about your marriage. And that's why we bring you couples from across the world. We bring you subject matter experts that have different skill sets, that have different expertise that pour into your relationship. And this year, in 2026, what we want to do is really take it a little bit deeper. We were looking for the best and the brightest, the people that are actually living through diverse relationships, that are living through different things. Because you know what? We see couples and we admire how they love on each other. And so we want to bring them to you. But we're starting a series. There's going to be 2 to 3 couples that we're going to be inviting this year that have a little bit of a different background. We're looking at an interfaith marriage series. And in order to kick that off this year, what we want to do is bring you one of the most dynamic couples and graduates of the Married into Crazy class of 2025. When they came to the winter ball, they weren't married.
Nope.
They are now husband and wife.
Woo, woo.
Without further ado, I want to invite or introduce.
And we're taking credit for all that. I just want to put that out there.
We did
We're
that.
Gonna take credit for
we
that.
did that. No,
So,
just
yeah.
playing. We want to welcome. We want to welcome Richard and Patrice O'Neill.
Woo!
Yay!
Where's the sound effects?
Let me get some more.
There we go.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Doing well. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, being willing to be open and talk about your marriage, your interfaith, how that's going. We appreciate you.
Realistically, so like we love to get into it, just kind of dive right in. And
Because we nosy.
first and foremost, I wrote a lot of, so I know, because we know y'all, I know we have a tendency to go off on tangents, and have these other conversations. So I got some notes in front of me.
Got it.
So one of the things that I want to jump into is kind of a combination question.
Well, first, we said their names, but hey, y'all. They should say something too,
Uncle E ready to dive right into it. He said we got limited time.
Hey,
but please
I'm
can
trying
talk.
to get into it.
Oh,
Tell us about yourself. How long y'all been married? Where you from? What you do?
how long we been married?
August 14th.
Oh, look at him.
Okay, 2025. How could I forget, right?
4 months. 4 months yesterday.
Yeah,
It's been
4
great.
months yesterday.
Together almost
Beautiful.
4 years.
Beautiful.
That's a milestone.
That is.
It is.
Yes.
Big deal. It's a big deal.
Enjoy that. So you guys are in Northern California. Now, are you both from the Bay Area originally?
Born and raised.
San Francisco, Fillmore side, the middle of Earth.
The middle of Earth. Ooh, Middle Earthers. Okay.
Middle Earth.
Middle Earth. They're all from San Jose. But
That's where
yes.
civilization started.
Well, look. So our normal questions kicking off is how you two met, but I want to make it a little bit more of a stacked question, and that is not only how did you meet, But when you first, I'd like to know, what was that feeling? How did you know? When did you realize that this wasn't just going to be a normal relationship, like a regular run of the mill? I'm gonna get to know you, get to know you. But you realized that there was a bit of a faith difference as well. And when did you have that first conversation to start to dip your toe in the water of how are we gonna do this? Let's start with how you met.
That's good. Yeah. We met by way of my cousin who weeks prior told me I can't meet none of his friends. I was like, okay. It was his birthday, and I actually had no plans on going. I had planned to go, but I changed my mind. I was so tired. I'd stayed up all night binge watching Game of Thrones or something. And a girlfriend called and said, I need to get out the house. I'm like, all right, my cousin's having a party. Meet me over here. Let's go. When I got there, it was just all my family for the most part. We took over the restaurant, and we took it over so much they put us outside. We were that big of a party. They put us outside. They made space for us outside. You know how COVID has, or after COVID, or during COVID, they had the seating outside. So they put us all out there. I didn't see him prior, and quite transparently, my cousin came up to me. This is my side of it. His is going to be very different, I'm sure. My side says, hey, I want you to meet a friend of mine. And I'm like, oh, now you want me to meet your friend. Okay. So he took me over, and I'm an open, like, bubbly person. I'm really shy when it came to meeting, gentlemen, especially being single. But I walked up to him and I just extended my hand. I don't even think my cousin got a chance to, hey, I'm like, hey, I'm Patrice. And he said, hey, I'm Richard. And people kind of chuckled, Richard? He's big rich, I'm like, well, and that was just kind of it. My cousin, maybe a couple hours later, he had left. And he said, hey, are you okay if I give him your number? Did you find him attractive? I was like, yeah, he's cute. Mind you, I had no plans on being in a relationship. I had just bought a house, and I'm like, I just want to be single for a year. I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy. I'm doing me. But he called the next day, and we've been talking for 4+ years straight, so a little less than 4 years straight. And we're married now, so that's how that went for me.
Okay, now Rich, tell the truth.
Wow.
Man, right?
Wow.
Well, since we got these rings on the finger, her story is exactly how it went. I've learned that in 4 months. I learned that very quick. No, very much so. Her cousin is a very close friend of mine. So, someone I trust dearly. So when he brought it up, like Patrice, I was supposed to be somewhere else that day, and had time. My plans fell through, and I'm like, well, you know what? It's the homie birthday. He don't. We don't do a lot. So when we invite each other somewhere, like, it's a big deal. So I'm like, let me at least show my face. So like they said, they took over the restaurant. So I showed my face, stood outside, went around the corner, came back, and then was hanging with his mom. And that's when we got the introduction. And, amazingly beautiful, of course, right? But it's his cousin. So I'm not looking at her in that way. So when he introduced us, I'm thinking, hey, she's single. She must run the streets, be in the clubs, be in the bars like I be. So maybe he wanted me more to have protection for her, like, hey, Rich, this is my cousin. Y'all should know each other. And I'm like, hey, I got her when I see her out, When I go grab a bite to eat, she come with us and eat. Well, we've been eating together ever since.
You kind of like, you took that whole phrase, we're going to break bread, and just took it to a whole.
Breaking bread ever.
Right.
Been breaking
I like
bread
it.
ever since.
That is funny.
I love that. And so in that beginning, as auspicious as it was, when did you two know, okay, you know what, there's a spark here. We really need to know each other better. And then when did that conversation kind of take a turn, like, oh, okay, let's discuss our faiths as well? Like, how did that conversation even come up?
I specifically remember that very vividly. Prior to me meeting him, I was at Bible study on a Wednesday, and they were talking about their relationships, the women in the group, and their husbands, and faith has always been a part of my life. I grew up in the church. My grandmother was a pastor. Her mom before that was a minister, and so we go back some generations. And I remember being in Bible study, and as I'm talking, quite literally, the Lord said to me, "He's coming," and I'm like. And it was just one of them strongs. It wasn't audible, but it was one of them strong, like, I wouldn't even, And then that Friday, I talked to my cousin. She had called. She said, the Lord told me to tell you, whoever comes into your life next, just to be open. Be open to whatever that looks like. And I'm just like, I wasn't expecting nobody. I want to be single. I just got my house. I'm good. But okay, I'll be open. That's fine. I met him that Sunday. Monday, he called and we talked. He invited me to dinner. And I'm like, no, I'm okay, I got something going on over here. I just wasn't there yet. I wanted to get to know him a little bit more. And he's very much he's very transparent. Like, hey, I'm hungry. You're hungry. Let's go. Let's meet here. And I was like, maybe next time. So I want to say we met that Thursday, and we had been talking on the phone for hours at that point. And I thought it was okay, let's meet up, let's get together. So the vivid part for me is us sitting at the table at BJ's. That was our first date. I'm an easy girl. I don't need Morton's or, spinach dip or anything like that. And it was crazy because it was during Ramadan for him. And so when I came to BJ's, he told me he was doing Ramadan. He had, been telling me, and I quite honestly, I was always just kind of raised to, okay, we don't date outside of our faith. And never really given a reason. It was just unequally yoked and this and the other, it's just something we didn't do. No one ever sat me down and said A, B, and C, but I also never taught me about Islam either. And so we just started talking, and I just had questions, what does this mean to you? And really from that I almost saw like a preacher in him, the way he was just so eloquently speaking about his faith and speaking about, why he's doing Ramadan, how far he's come and how identical almost it was to the Bible that I read. I'm like, wow, we really have a lot of the same values. And it kind of opened me up more to wanting to date him, because it wasn't just about now our faith, our religion. In hindsight, it was really about, okay, he sounds like he's a great dad, he's a great person, and our values sound the same, and he believes in God, and he's really explaining to me what that looks like for him. And I had never got that before. I was always very Christian. This is just what we're doing. We're Christian, right? And for me, that just kind of opened up my eyes to the respect of it all, and just being more open to that belief system and what it entails without judging it, first and foremost. And it to me, that I almost, I'm going to say it, I almost fell in love that first day. But I was like, no, it's
Come
too
on in and
soon.
say it, baby.
It's
Go on
too
in and say
soon.
it.
But it really intrigued me. I had never had, I've dated, guys who were in the church, you know what I mean? I've dated guys who didn't believe, but for some reason we drew the line at Muslim, in our faith. I had dated somebody who didn't believe at all. They're like, oh, girl, he can change. That's fine. Well, you get to somebody who's Muslim, like, oh, my family's like, oh, what? Muslim, what? And so I'm like, y'all don't get it. You got to sit down with him to understand. And so that was my point of view, I think, on our first couple of dates, of me really being open to, the thought of being in a relationship with him.
Eloquent, very eloquent. Graceful.
Anything to add, Rich?
Oh man, and you want what we say? You want the truth? She fell in love that night. I saw it in her eyes, brother. Hey, I was feeding her with the little bitty spoon. You know how long it takes to eat ice cream with that little bitty spoon? It was almost milk when I got done feeding.
I love that.
But
there goes that tangent you were talking about, huh?
But for me, religion doesn't bother me. I'm not one way or another. I'm looking at your actions. I'm looking at your duties and your deeds. Because whatever you say you practice, what are you doing though? Right? I know people will quote any scripture, any book, whatever their faith is, but I don't want to be around them, and I want you to be around them, because they're not nice people. They're not good people. So I don't get involved in the titles. I said before, I think Ernie on King's Accountability calls, I don't religious gang bang. If anything, I'm gonna support you. So, and in the book of the Good Samaritan, where it says, or not the book, well, the story of the Good Samaritan, the preacher went on the other side of the street.
Right.
And robbed and beat up, left for dead on the road to Mecca to Medina. And the minister Farrakhan, because I'm just not a regular Muslim. I'm a Nation of Islam, a black Muslim. So we respect the Bible. We read the Bible. We respect the birth of Jesus. We love Mary more than anyone. We named mosque in Chicago Maryam, after the mother of Jesus, right? She gave birth to civilization of the gospel. Without her, would be no Jesus. So we respect it to the fullest. So for me, it was like, without telling me your religion, show me you love God. Without telling me, I don't need to know. Show me how you are submissive to the will of God, because that's all Muslim mean, is one who submits to the will of God completely. My prayer, my life, my sacrifice, and my death is all for Allah. Whatever is given to me, it should be given to others. Well, Christian is one who's Christ-like. Meaning, what would Jesus do, as they say? Well, Patrice does that, and I saw it. I saw she argued in the best of manners, and that's one thing that we teach in the Nation of Islam. is we don't argue, but if we must, we argue in the best of manners. And I was like, okay, if her hair ain't covered, that's okay. She got pretty hair. She got good grade, as they say down south. She got that good
She
hair.
got
I
good
don't.
hair.
I understand, but no. Even in the first few days, I was fasting, so it was challenging for me. I do want to hang out with her, but I can't eat. Most dates are over meals. But she was respectful. She was like, okay, well, by the time we get to this restaurant, the sun will be going down, and I would break fast, make my prayer, drink some water, and enjoy a meal with her, and to see that she respected without treating me like a science project or being a religious turnoff, right? Some people could turn you off instead of attract you. They detract, they push you away, make you not want to honor what they say, or it just comes off so I know, and I'm like, don't nobody know until you hit that dirt. You don't want to know. You don't want to know that much knowing, right? So, nah, it was a bomb experience, and we still grow, we still learning, we still investing in the books that God left us.
I love that.
Like that.
I love that. I know Snooks is going to ask a question, but I actually want to. It's funny. Both of you reminded me of something. I'm still in touch with my 7th grade teacher all these years later, and today he posted something. It was in response to something else that was happening in the world, but he said that he wanted to quote Mahatma Gandhi, and Gandhi is credited with saying I'm gonna paraphrase it, but he was credited with saying something like, "I like Jesus Christ. I don't necessarily like Christians because they're not very Christ-like."
Right.
And I think that lends itself to what you were saying right now. And no, I appreciate that. I think it's powerful.
I do too. Because we see that a lot in churches, going to church does not make you a Christian. You know what I'm saying? So
No more than sleeping in a garage makes you a car.
Exactly. So
I like that.
So, both Christian and Muslim traditions have teachings about marriage roles, modesty, and family leadership. How have you navigated those teachings in your home, and what has stayed traditional versus what you've reinterpreted together?
Can I go?
Yeah,
Let me
please.
go first.
Go ahead.
All right, here we go. Traditional in the role of in the Nation of Islam, and I can only speak on that. Like I said, I'm not a Sunni or a Shiite, and those ceremonial beliefs that they have covered up or chewing your mouth, and no disrespect to them, I'm just sharing how I'm able to articulate the share. I don't have that tradition, right? I'm a black man in America. I come from my blood, it has blood of slaves in it. So I've been stripped of all knowledge of who I am, my language, the God of my understanding before we had to find Islam by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I didn't know how to love. How do you love? TV shows us what love is, Hallmark cards, right? So what is tradition for the black man and black woman in America? We have no tradition. We have American culture, which is a culture of consumerism. We're in the time of the fourth quarter where it's about the dollar, right? Sell and advertise. Thanksgiving ain't about family or remembering peace given to the Aboriginal people of this land, to those who came, who was lost and astray. It wasn't about that. It's about, let me sell out these turkeys and get you some hog mog and a bunch of carbs and then make a dedication to lose weight on the New Year's. So we've been recreating tradition through love. This year, well, last year, we taught our children, and Patrice celebrates Christmas, but since we've been together, she hasn't put up a tree. She puts up lights. That don't bother me. And if she put a tree up, it wouldn't bother me. I understand why she does it, right? I understand the condition and the condition your condition is in. It takes more than a doctor to heal this. It takes, and even me, like I'm a Muslim and I know better some things, but I've been in the church when I was young. I'm, like I said, a product of America. God didn't make the N-word, America did. And he made you to follow. He made you to submit and do what he say do. And every year, 12 months, we keep doing it, even if we know better. But I will say traditional as a woman, she's a woman. She is my sister. She is the mother of my child, and she's my wife, and she just naturally takes the role that God provides. I could come in late and be tired, and she'd be like, "Did you eat something? You hungry?" and throw a little something on the stove. It ain't got to be Morton's, right? But you know, it ain't gotta be Morris, but it might be the rice maker, something from Trader Joe's in a package and heat it up, but it's made with love, and she's gonna find the best food to put in my body. She's concerned about me, and I naturally am a man. So something's out of order in the house, I'm gonna put order in the house. That's a man's duty, is to serve and protect, provide, to maintain. Her duty is to nurture, to cultivate, to teach. I don't worry about our children. I told her when we met, baby, I'm not a good teacher when it comes to the children. She's like, what you mean? You gonna read to the babies? Not like that. Teaching in the day-to-day, soft touch, the patience. Mine's wears thin. Mine's is a little more aggressive. I will take time to do it, but I know at a certain time when the toddler's a toddler, he needs his mother. So I don't trip when my son spazzes out for his mother. I understand where that comes from. He's in his natural order. If you want to see the true creation of God, watch a child. A child don't know the flag. He don't know a loyalty to a country. He don't know commercialism unless you introduce it to him. But he does know mama, dad. That's love to him. Those are his guys. That's his provider. That's who he worships when he needs something. And I say worship not in a God like fashion, but that's when his needs are required, that's where they go. You know, not to any adult, but to mom and dad, and mom first choice. So tradition, we understand the tradition is God's, the law and the positions that he naturally created for man and woman, and we seem to just fit.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I didn't grow, I mean, I grew up seeing marriages, but at some point, as an adolescent, there's a lot of divorces, more divorces than couples getting married at that time. And so by the time I maybe, started to become a woman, maybe 14, 15, I didn't have a lot of marriages to emulate or look after, but I was taught how to. You know what I mean? I was taught to submit, but not in a way, biblically in that sense. It's more so for me, I honor him. We talked about that in our marriage classes with you guys. I honor him as my husband, right? He does not let me take out the trash when I got him and 3 boys here and stuff like that.
I'll let you go out at night.
He don't let me go all night, whatever the case is, and I honor that. I want to honor his wishes when it comes to stuff like that. But I also know I'm naturally a homemaker. I'm naturally a cook. I'm naturally gonna serve your plate if we're at a party. That's just what I did grow up seeing and was taught. Ooh,
I know you ain't talking, Mister. I'm gonna take out the garbage.
Sorry, Ernie.
oh my
Sorry.
bad. No, but this is real life. I'm not fluffing it over here. It's one of those things, just like he said. It's like he takes care of me. I want to take care of him. I
Right.
want to be able to, submit to him in those ways that I know I cannot stand up as a man. He's the man. If there's somebody banging on the door, I'm not gonna go answer it. I'm gonna leave that to him. And if I did, he gonna look at me crazy, like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
So
who you gonna fight?
yeah, I think naturally, like you said, we just kind of fell into those roles because we loved each other so much. We want to out happy each other for just for us, for our home. Where we love our kids. We want to make sure that we're emulating what we want them to become as
Right.
well. There's nothing. You're not going to talk to me, Kurt. He's never. We don't get into it like that, but he's never talk to me crazy in front of the kids, let alone, in general. We have our moments, you know what I mean? But it's never disrespect. It's more nagging than anything. And so I'm not going to treat him the way, I wouldn't want to be treated, and vice versa. I know, there's one time somebody said, happy wife, happy life. He was like, happy spouse, happy house. You know what I mean? And it became something. But at the end of the day, I'm like, that's true, because I can make you happy all day, but if it's not, that return there, if we're not, that 50-50 balance, and I understand it's not always going to be 50-50, but the fact that we're willing to pick up the slack, when somebody's being a 30, I can be that 70. I don't mind doing that for you because I know you work hard and I know you're tired and I know your commute is crazy, and vice versa. We just look at each other and say, okay, you're tired. You need a minute. Leave mom alone for a minute. Close the door. You're good. And so I think it all just comes down to honor and respect when it comes to, the traditional aspect of it. It's not me slaving over a stove all day, because I do work from home and I do have the child, when I'm here. And so, but I want to, like he said, if he's hungry, and I know he is, and I have the energy, I'm gonna get up and cook him something. I don't mind doing that, because I know he's slumped on the couch. So I think it's give and take, but also covering the percentages when somebody's not at their full.
Can I ask a question though? And this is just a quick response for you guys. in your wherewithal of all these relationships and couples y'all have talked, is there a tradition?
When I say, well, you want to give?
Go ahead.
I'll say this, that the tradition that I see that seems to have be more firmly rooted than anything else are traditions that surround gender. And not so much, a spiritual relationship, whatever, because it seems like our culture, at least the American culture, is so 1950s still. It's like there's a belief that, there's the June and Ward Cleaver aspect of it, that people should do certain things in certain genders. I think that's changing to a certain extent with the newer generations that are coming up.
So, I mean, I think when you talk about traditions and stuff, if we're basing it in Christianity, there are traditions. I feel like the man is the head of the household. That's tradition in scripture, right? And sorry, he comes first. The wife, we're the helpmate. In the world, especially in our communities, we don't necessarily see that because the black woman is typically the head of the household because we're doing whatever it is. So when we see couples where the man is present, he's doing all the stuff, we always applaud that. But one thing that I find to be very important, and I like kind of to speak about Rich, when you talk about, I see you in the respect that you give Patrice, the respect that she gives you. That's one thing about men. I feel like that we as women, that's something that we have to learn. A man loves respect, right? That's the top thing. The prisons are full of men who got into it because somebody disrespected them, or they got in fights. Oh, cause he disrespectful. I have my nephew, oh, and he ain't finna disrespect me. I'm like, boy, if you don't stop, the respect is the thing, and that's an instruction in the Bible. Wives, respect your husband. Husbands, love your wives. We crave love. I love when, we try to outlove each other too. I think I win more. It's a contest over here,
Not when the garbage has to go
very
out.
competitive.
I love more.
Oh yeah, or not when food has to be made, or clothes need to be washed, or bathroom needs to be done, or vacuuming. I could go on. Did you want me to? Okay.
I think somewhere in the Bible it says something about not keeping score.
I think it said not taking cheap shots too. But anyway, I digress. But no, I feel like it's important the tradition should be love and honor and respect. What is that song? Who was that? Was it the Locks? Money, power, respect. In that order. You know what I'm saying?
Love it. I love it.
Money, power, respect. That is one thing that's the street credo, right? But in the home, it should be respect, honor, and love, or love, honor, respect. And that goes for whomever, I showed love. I feel like Lovey knows I love him. Well, everybody knows I love Lovey, but Lovey knows I love him because of the way that I respect him as my partner, my life partner, my husband, my lover, the father of my children, my financial bankroller. But I also give him that respect that as the man of the household. And that I'm going to be very transparent. That was very hard for me in the beginning of our relationship because I was raised by a single mom. And my mom was no nonsense. We call her no nonsense Linda. But she, as a mother of a daughter, she told me, you make sure you have your own. She didn't teach me how to be a wife. I didn't see that. I saw how to be a strong Black woman to make sure that I take care of myself so that if I'm ever in a situation where I'm by myself, I can handle it. That was so deeply ingrained that it caused a rift between the two of us because I didn't understand how, okay, I need to stop, So I think those are some of the traditions that we need to change, especially in our community. All men aren't dogs. we like to say that, there are some good ones out there, but when we get a good one, we need to make sure that we're just as good too. I
Yeah.
can't ask for something that I'm not willing to give, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
I agree with that. I wanted to piggyback on that. I think for me, when we first met, I was a strong black woman, but I was a tired, strong black woman. I had,
right,
I told you I had just moved into this house. I'm building the kids' beds by myself. I'm hanging stuff by myself. So when he came with a toolkit. He said, "I got it. Let me." He said, "Give me a year. Give me 1 year just to let you know that this is, you know what I mean. I can help
right.
take." He started hanging stuff. I'm like, here, buddy, you got it. I was doing everything by myself, for my kids and I. And so when he came, like I said, it's almost like he just stepped into the role. He knew what I needed, and I knew what he needed. I knew he needed a softness. I knew he needed, you know what I mean, a good home cooked meal, hot home cooked meal, whatever the case is. And somebody was just a little bit more graceful and just listen, we'll be out. And he's like, head on the swivel, babe. You can't be out here like this. I'm like, okay. And I'll listen. I'm not doing all of that because I know he knows what he's talking about out there, and I know I'm going to clean the bathroom all the time or the laundry, whatever the case is.
Right.
But we come to this thing where it's almost like a well-oiled machine. It's like, okay, there's towels in there. I don't have to ask him. There's towels in the dryer. I come in, he's folding the towels. It's almost like an inter-exchange, unspoken rule. I'm sorry, Ernest. I don't mean to keep giving you the side. I'm
No,
sorry.
hey,
let me share.
I do. And then she comes in and refolds them. So,
I into it.
So Ernie and Snooks, so in the Nation of Islam, Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches the men our role as men to our women is to maintain, protect, and provide. We don't spend their money, we spend ours. And if we don't have no money, we tell them, baby, we in the house tonight. We playing Monopoly, right? And we're the teachings. This is the beauty of these teachings. This is a code. This is a traditional culture when you meet a man from the Nation of Islam. When you meet the fruit of Islam, right? When a tree is ripe, and a good tree, it produces good fruit. So every man in the Nation of Islam will say the exact same thing, the exact same way, and should have the exact same behavior. And and if they're not, then they're not demonstrating, right? They just got more work to do. They ain't had the right fortitude yet, right? It takes some kahunas to be these type of men. When the world say, like Lovey said, you know, men are all dogs or women are all whatever. Well, that's not true. We're just a product of hate. That's what we are. We're a product of hate, and we're always in defense. And in our defense, we've been separated, right? We fighting so hard for ourselves. Once you back to back, once a little gap get between y'all, you can't help who over there. You got to worry
That's
about
right.
yourself. And now we have become those people. And religion is one of the things that's used to divide us as well. When we was on them ships, and this is something that I've learned over time, and I really and take this to my heart. When we was on them ships being shuttled here against our will, nobody asked each other what your religion was, but the moans and the groans and the pain spoke to the same God. He heard them all. He heard every ache. He heard them. And he didn't pick and choose who got blessed or not, because the DNA of the slave is still here. So that means he heard them. He heard as many as he could. Whoever could make it, made it. So now that we're here, how can I let a trend, how can I let something that's trending on in the internet divide me from my equal, my woman, the female reflection of me, the black woman, regardless of what her belief is? And there's many to choose from, right? America has more religions than anywhere in the world. Let's just start there.
Right.
So that shows you there's something about freedom of religion.
Right.
Because if I was in China, I would probably speak Mandarin or Cantonese, and I would probably be in that faith. If I
Right.
was in the Philippines, the southern Philippines, I would look like the Philippines, have a flag and a land and a God that represents the people where I am. And we're taught that God comes to you in the language you speak. He's not gonna come to America and speak Swahili. He couldn't touch us all. He would get a limited few, right? So I understand that religion is something that we're all very passionate about because we want something bigger than ourselves and something bigger than this government, right? We want something that we could defeat the evil that we see. We all do. And there is a God who knows the right name. That's not for me to judge. But are you doing the work your book says you should do?
Right.
In the
That
nation
part.
is in the nation of Islam, we believe in charity, fasting for the month of Ramadan, 30 days, no food, no water, sun up to sundown, no sex with your wife, sun up to sundown. We believe in 5 prayers a day. We believe in going to Mecca if you can, and we believe that Prophet Muhammad was the messenger of God and Allah's God. That's it. It's nothing special, nothing spooky. Don't let CNN fool you. I'm not blowing myself up. I can tell you that much. You know what I mean? The book don't say that.
Right.
You know, and I've read the Bible. I know the Bible better than I do the Quran because I'm raised in America. My grandma went to a Baptist church, and my father is a Catholic. So explain that to me, right? This is his mother. He went to the Catholic church because it was a 45-minute service. He didn't want to sit there for 3 hours. And that's okay. She didn't shame him. That's her son. She loved that man with all her heart. But she let him go to the Catholic church. She said, at least he believed in a God. And she loved her son. And he loved his mama, but he ain't sitting there for 3 hours in a church with no AC in 73.
Well, hey,
That was a culture shock for you.
you're talking about my family now. Because I grew up Catholic as well. 12 schools, private school, 12 years private school. I even at one point even thought my calling was to become a priest.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to clarify that whole no women thing, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, you lost me on that one.
Talk to me, God.
I said, yeah, God didn't share that one with me. So, but there's something you touched upon earlier that I think Patrice spoke to it, and it was about how coming up that you had dated different individuals, or your family even said, had been with like atheists or no faith or some variation on that, right? But they were like, oh, the moment you said Muslim, they're like, hold on, wait a minute. And so the question is, how did your families, both of you, if at all, what kind of influence did they have on you when you were firmly committed in this relationship? Like, you know what? Rich, that's my man. And Rich was like, oh, Patrice, that's my woman. We are in this. Even before you said I do, what was that influence like? And then how did you manage those perceptions in that relationship?
I'm going to be honest. I think this time around, there was going to be no influence in that type of way, in a negative way, anything that was going to talk me out of it, because I think I lived that life so long when it came to bringing someone or individual into, to meet my family. It's like, y'all not paying my bills. Y'all not going to be here when it's over with. Y'all not going to be here dirty. But for me, I made it a mission and a point to get to know him on my own, to get to know, you know what I mean, his faith on my own. And if they had questions, I'm like, yeah, I'll answer what I can, but go talk to him. I'd rather you talk to him. He can explain it better than I can. And so he's had a few conversations with my family, and it was just a couple of people. It wasn't like, the whole tribe or whatnot, but it was something that, I did have to explain high level. I wasn't going to get too deep into it because I made my decision at that point. I think even at some point, I don't want to say I had to talk myself into it. I just had to come to an understanding, like, this is who I feel God sent to me. I don't know the reason. This is nothing I ever grew up with, never. And really, more than anything, I think it was a lack of knowledge when it came to the Nation of Islam. It's like they didn't know, like I didn't know. I didn't know. This man was quoting the Bible to me, on our first date. And I'm like, wait a minute, but I thought da-da-da-da. So is that, that I guess misinterpretation and almost that, in a weird way, prejudice of only staying in my lane and not being able to look to my left or my right and really, get to know people outside of the Christian faith. And so my eyes were enlightened. And I think I just had, again, made it to a point like there's nothing you can do to infiltrate that on that level. Now, if you see something else that I don't see as it pertains to just an attitude or, you know what I mean, something that, you see him out somewhere and he doing something he ain't supposed to, tell me about that stuff. We're not going to be talking about my faith right now, because I've had people in my family who married ministers who, quite honestly, if I can say this, who sexual assaulted people, who were in jail, who murdered, who did whatever the case is, who were cheating, who were stealing from the pulpit. And so, I dated someone who was in the church as well, and we couldn't be more different, but I was doing that on the premise of us having the same faith. So it was such a big part of my life, my faith. for me that I just didn't really look anywhere else until I saw that we're all human at the end of the day, that we're all man-made. As long as he believed in God and we believed in the same God, that was my biggest thing. I'm not going to try to convert him. Even still, it's not one of those things, but it all came down to me respecting where he came from. He would play the Minister Farrakhan, around the house. And at first, my spirit would be so vexed. I'm going to be very honest. I'm like, because I was still so closed off. It's like, okay, I'm not going to try to convert you, but I don't want to really. But when I started to listen, values, I'm like, this dude is really brilliant, and I really respect his message and the respect of women that the Nation of Islam has and how they uphold their women. And I'm like, listening, I'm like, I need to learn outside of just the Christian faith and outside of the Bible. And I respect the Bible. I'm not converting. I'm a Christian. That's who I am. I believe in God. I'm spiritual, but I respect his faith. I respect what they uphold and what they teach, their men, their black men specifically. And for me, there was no infiltrating that, not on that level. I've seen so many people break up over their faith and miss out on great love if that's the end of, the goal. But for me, I was like, no, you guys don't really get a say in this one. Y'all just have to sit back and love him just like I love him. And that's where we are today. They couldn't love Rich more, which I really appreciate.
And I love them as well. Challenging, but I love them such as God loves the children, right? Just forgive them for they do not know. But in my family, we have Jehovah's Witness, we got Christians, but we're not Christian. We got Baptists in the Christian faith, we got Second AME Baptists, we got non-traditional Baptists. My father's a Catholic. We got a few Crips in the family. We got all kind of people. Everybody with something, and whatever they would, they definitely would it. So my family don't trip like that. In my family, we don't trip like that. I respect certain days of the year. My auntie, our birthdays, don't call my auntie and wish her a happy birthday. Don't bother. And she's not calling you, and that's okay. That's my auntie. I love her. I'll do something to you behind that woman. You know what I mean? And we never treated her different. My grandmother didn't treat her differently. And so a lot of times, I think people get caught up on Muslims today, right? We are the Asians after Vietnam or after World War II, right? I wasn't a black man who done nothing in 9/11, but they show hard on the black Muslims, right? You'll hear this propaganda about who killed Malcolm X. Well, do the research. You'll know who killed him. You'll know two of the men wasn't even in the area, wasn't even in the city. You'll know that there was fallouts of the organization. So there's a narrative to destroy a strong black symbol of black men. Why they don't speak on who created Malcolm X. They speak on Malcolm, but not the source, the man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who created Malcolm, who created Farrakhan, who created Brother Khalid, who created Nuri Muhammad, who created me. We're the fruit of the Elijah Muhammad tree. We wouldn't have a Muhammad Ali if it wasn't for the Nation of Islam, who said, I'm not going to war to fight some people who never called me out my name, never treated my people wrong, and I'll give away all of the money that you make and these titles that you created, because I'm still a black man, I'm still special, and I'm going to take a stand for my people. No other athlete in the world has took that type of position based on his faith and based on his honor. No one. Not in today and not before him. He changed his name from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali. And in that era, them people were so disrespectful, would refuse to call him his name. So he punished the man in the ring for playing with his belief. You gotta love that type of God. I'm still not blowing myself up, but I love that kind of God that will give you that type of honor and dignity to know money ain't nothing but paper. What matters most is what the legacy that me and my woman, my wife, my missing piece of my puzzle that God allowed me to find. And we'll say God just for the sake of the show, but Allah, it's just a name. Jehovah, it's just a name. Yahweh, it's just a name. O'Shea is just a name. And we'll make these names, we'll taint them on CNN. And we'll believe CNN before you believe your brother. And that's the sad part. That's the part that bothers me when I talk to my people. And they'll really believe Fox News. And I'm like, but I'm standing here, brother. You looking at me. You know what I mean? But it's okay. Because what we're going to show people, what we're showing them now is, it's not about the books in your hand. It's about the work your hand do. And she knows, and I know, we do amazing work in our communities that we don't brag about it. I ain't going to go into tangents on it, but just know if people see this, they'll know Brother Richard X like they'll know Sister Patrice.
I love it's funny you bring up Ali, and at one point there was a up until the 11th hour, our son Kalen, his first name was going to be Ali, because Muhammad Ali is, in my estimation, like, if there was ever an idol, a sports idol or whatever, it's not even, it goes beyond sport because you just named it all the reasons. But that was just an impeccable individual that stood for it a lot. And because of the respect I had for him, Kalen's name up until the 11th hour was going to be Ali. Yeah. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You have the next question?
I thought I asked the last one.
Well, I'll ask this, and then we'll close out on this.
Maybe not. I might have a question. Go ahead.
No, but you kind of touched upon it, but I want to dig into it just a little bit more. You brought up the phrase of submission, and I think there's a lot of misunderstandings out there around that particular phrase, and I think there's a lot of misunderstandings on both. When you're looking across the fence on the other side, because in the Bible, in Ephesians, in a variety of different places, but it really goes into, or even Proverbs, talking about Proverbs 31 and talking about Ephesians about what a man should do, what a woman shouldn't do. But then the Christian looks over the fence and they see, you've been talking about a lot of respect and love, but with jaded eyes, a lot of times Christians will look at Muslims and say, oh, you know what? They don't treat their women correctly. And I think that's based on perceptions because of movies, media, CNN, Fox, all these different things, right? And what does submission look like in your home, in your four walls? And does your faith dictate that, or is there something innate within you?
So I myself, and Patrice may follow this, and she has had more to add. We submit to what's righteous. If it's righteous, we submit it. There's no argument. She doesn't have to raise her voice. She doesn't have to go get a book to prove it to me. In my heart, I know it's right. Right? God gave us that feeling to know what's right and wrong. You know better. What they say, you know better, you do better. Well, we know better. So if I'm being rebellious, if I'm having laziness in me that day, or I woke up, what they say, on the wrong side of the bed. I don't know what side of that bed it is, but it's in our bed some days, the wrong side. If I wake up like that, and she requested something or she desires something, then if it's a righteous desire and call, not just because I move for her, then I'm going to do it. It's one thing to be abusive of love, and it's another thing to just need my love. So she needs my love, and my love is the gap to get what she needs from the other side of the bed or the room or outside the house. Then I don't care how much snow or rain or dark or terror is outside, I'm gonna make sure I go outside and not her. So submissive, from my point of view, is making sure is keeping her safe. She's feel maintained in whatever she has going on, and I'm the one providing, not the neighbor, not the UPS man or the Amazon truck that show up with the boxes. I can't wait to catch this guy. In case something happened to the Amazon man, I'm just playing. It wasn't me.
We got you on tape, bro.
Right? It's recorded. I think for me, submission is not, you get to control everything I say. My grandma used to say, he's the head, we're the neck, right? It's mainly, like we mentioned before, just a matter of respect. It's a matter of not so much doing my wifely duties, but also, doing, my wifely duties. And that, provided he's leading us in the right direction, right? If he's leading us straight to hell, I'm not going to follow you. I'm not submitting to that. I wanted to submit to a husband in the form of, I want to be able to, run a household with him. If I say yes and Rich says no, the no wins, because there's a reason behind it. I just say no just because he's being a butt, that day. But it's submission to me is really trusting him that he's going to lead our family in the right direction, and trusting him to trust me if I say, I don't think that's the good way. Let's sit down and talk about it. Trusting that he's not going to combat me if there's something I disagree with, or if something I agree with and he disagree with. It's not so strict. It's not me, okay, up at 5 with an apron on. There's times I try to wake up in the morning and beat him so I can make his breakfast. He's like, go lay down. You're doing too much, right? Because I'm not going to let anything lack here. If I come home every day and I'm sitting on the couch smoking a blunt, you got every right to say whatever you want to say to me. That's not happening here.
Walk right back out that door.
You know what I mean? So it's there's a give and take, as I mentioned before, but there's also it's an honor. When you guys said that word in our class, that stuck with me forever. It's an honor thing. I want to honor him as long as he's out there not embarrassing me. He's honoring me when I'm away from him. He's honoring me. When he speaks of me, and even when we're having disagreements, you're still honoring me. That doesn't mean, you don't love me or that we're upset, but you're going to honor me. You're not going to call me out my name. You're not going to cuss me. You're not going to, be overbearing. And so to me, I want to be able to submit whatever that means. It's whatever it is in that day. If he's tired, you know what? I got you. If he's sick that day and he's still trying to get up and go work, no, lay down. Like, what are you doing? Let me go make you some soup. Let's get you back to health. So I don't think it's, submission in a traditional sense of, do as I say, not as I do, hush, be quiet. I have a voice in this home, but it's a respectful voice. It's not overbearing his. I'm going to let him, like he would say, can I say this first? And we're just sitting here like, do you mind if I answer that first? I'm like, go for it. He's not, pinching me under the table like, no, it's my turn. No, it's very much give and take. And I think we had a lot of false narratives growing up of what submission might look like. I grew up with a lot of strong Black women as well. I ain't listening to you, girl. No, if he tell me I can't go out at 12 o'clock at night to the Funky Monkey, we not going. That's what my husband said. So I'm going to honor that. I'm not going to say I'm grown, I'm this and that and the other. He knows what's out there. So I'm not going to combat you if you're trying to keep us safe and if you're trying to keep us, whole and really under your care. If you're my husband, you caring for me at the end of the day, and vice versa. So it's a submission in a way that's not traditional, but it's a submission in a way that I'm going to honor, how you feel in those moments.
So there's two things called abusive authority. Every situation needs authority where the expert lies. So when she's traveling that night, she may go over to dinner with her friends and she's dressed in a beautiful dress. I'll easily be like, hey, babe, put some sneakers and sweats in your car and put a bigger jacket in case you do get stopped somewhere, in case you do catch a flat. It's going to take me a minute to get there. You should be checking your flat and no heels and no skirt. You know what I mean? And just ready yourself. Well, that's wise counsel. That's having authority over a situation and knowing it. But abusive is, why you wearing that? Who you going with, right? You should be here cooking for me. That's madness. And I have a daughter and she has sons. So when we got together, it was a blended family. And my duty as a father is to show everybody in here what a respectable, honorable Black man looks like. Or take the color off it. Man looks like. But in our community, it's almost Black men are demonized, right? With social media and a lot of bloggers, all these traveling conversations, should I say. And they're cute and they're fun, but I don't see the results. You can talk in front of 3,000 people and everybody laughing and snapping and clapping, but who's getting married? I could say Married into Crazy has evidence. It works, right? Y'all got proof. Y'all can say Exhibit A.
Works.
And it works, right? So would you rather the intimate, personal get to know me and help me with tools and jewels, or travel and be somewhat celebrity status to thousands of people, but nothing happens? It was just an event. That's going to pass. Like apple pie ain't the trend no more, right? So just to say that, I mean, I think what y'all do is beautiful, and these questions are amazing. I saw one of the questions, and I'll answer it before you can ask it. What do we do with children and religion? I think that's important because our son was just in here.
We have a 3-year-old, y'all. This is real life over here.
Soon to be 3. We had to get up and tend to him. And it's not what religion to choose. We're putting clean glasses in front of them. This is a teaching of the Nation of Islam as well. You don't have to argue religion or tell somebody yours is better. You just put a clean glass next to the glass that the world wants him to drink out of.
That's right.
That's dirty. It's filthy. You put it up to the sunlight, you'll see oil stains, rings of old drink, lipstick, cigarette butt at the bottom, a little chew spit in there. That's what the world wants you to drink out of. They don't want you to have no religion. The religion they want you to have is commercialism and hate. And we showing love because God is love. In all the books,
Right.
God is merciful. In the Quran, it says the most merciful. Every book starts with the most merciful. So we know mercy is love. Mercy is a understanding that only a parent can have for a child. And that's what we just gonna show him a mother and a father that loves each other, and we give him a clean glass. He'll find his way. God is a provider.
The biggest question I've gotten with that is he going to be confused? Is he that? I feel like, there's so much confusion in the world as it is that we're teaching him the core of what we believe. Like Rich had mentioned, God is love, God is light, God is, the highest. And really just to be a good person at the end of the day, he knows the Lord's Prayer. Rich says it
Yes.
with us at night. So every time at night
Yeah.
he's going on 3, he knows the Lord's Prayer,
That
right?
prayer is real.
His aunt dedicated him, and prayed over him. And it's like, God, we're sincere with this. We're sincere in honoring you with our children. Whether it's in Bible study, which we have. And I want to touch on this. When we first came home from the hospital with this dude, and it's something that just stuck with me and it just melted my heart. I came in the room and we've never argued about religion. We've never argued, when it comes to our faith, but he came in before me, and I'm sitting in the car, just kind of get my bearings. First day home from the hospital, and he's made the bed all nice. And I came in, and he had gospel music playing in the background, just so I can just rest. And it was just like, we're not going to have a problem here. You know what I mean? Because we respect each other's faith, and that just stuck with me because it wasn't that he came in and played, what he might be comfortable. He knew what I had just went through. When he played what he knew I was going to be comfortable with, and the fact that he let me bring my child in there, you can just feel God even in there, in the gesture of it all. And that just stuck with me. And so that's nothing that I've ever worried about, is how we're going to bring this little dude up, because I've seen people grow up to be atheists who grew up in the church, at the end of the day. So I think having respect for both is where I lie with it. And, you take from here, you take from here, but let God be the increase, in all of that, in all of what you do. And that's how we're raising him, really, at the end of the day. There's no argument there. There's no, you can't get him baptized. No, you can't take him to a mosque. There's none of that. It's like, respect the religion, respect the faith, and respect your parents at the end of the day. And we're, we'll go from there. You're going to be 18 at some point, learn how to pray, learn how to go to God with everything that you do first. And I think that's the foundation that we have for him right now.
Most definitely. Most definitely. God will find you. He'll find you.
Will. He sure
Oh,
will.
absolutely.
It ain't you find him. That's the ones who don't make you want to go to their church. But when he finds you, oh man, I don't care what flag is under. When he finds you, you can't get away. You can look at Jonah.
Just too small to
Jonah
box
tried to
God.
run, right? Prophet Muhammad fought 3,000 men with 500 men. It was victorious. They was bound to fail. But when he find you, victory is yours. All you got to do is just give him the clean glass of drink out of him.
That's right.
You don't know. God provided the water. You just had to clean the glass.
You said something that everybody that's listening, I just want you to just key in on this. There was a phrase that you were just talking. You were just off the top. It was the spirit that was going. You said God is in the gesture. And I think that's beautiful. I don't know if that's a quote from somewhere or if that was just from your heart and the flow. But that is so true. That is one of the truest things I've ever heard, that God is in the gesture. If you can't see God in the gesture, then there's a problem. That means that there's another motive.
Right.
There's something else that's pushing an agenda.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm going to, if I take anything away from this, there's a lot I'm going to take away from this. Hope you guys are all taking notes, but I'm always going to look for God in the gesture. And if I can't see that in my daily, in my relationship, I believe Snooks and I have that as well. And I think actually, quite honestly, going forward, Married into Crazy, we're going to have to coin that. I'm going to repeat that in all that you do, that God needs to be in the gesture. When you're being more compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding, it's not a point scoring thing. You have to ensure that God is in the gesture. Thank you guys for that. That is huge.
So I want to say, I really appreciate, like I said, kind of in the beginning, you all being very transparent and being very willing to talk about your relationship and your belief system. You know what I'm saying? One thing that I feel like is lacking is the knowledge. You know, Rich,
In the world.
yeah, not y'all, but yeah, in the world, Rich, you spoke about. He's like, I ain't finna blow up no building. I ain't blowing myself up. You know, too many times that is the main thing that the focus is on when you talk about Muslims. Oh, he's a Muslim, so that means automatically, you know, people think, oh, he did it. He planted the bomb. He this, he that. If we spent as much time learning about the Muslim faith and all
Yeah.
the good things that come out of it as we do, and I'm saying we generalizing, as we do bastardizing it, making
Yeah.
it, villainizing it,
Yeah.
we'd have a better understanding. I love that. Again, Rich, you talked about the teachings that they're not. It's not just the principles. It's not just about Jonah and the Bible's the biblical stories. They're life principles. They're teaching you how to be a man, how to treat your woman, how to. I like especially that part about we don't spend our women's money. I mean, Levy don't spend my money either because he got way more money than I got. Well, we both got, but he bring
We
in
in California. It's hers
yeah,
too.
right. I love that. We got married in California. I'm like community property, baby. But no, those are principles that a lot of people miss, and we miss those type of things about the Muslim faith because, to Patrice's point, we've heard what it is, whatever it is that we heard. Muslim girl, I ain't finna be, because they ain't gonna, the way they treat their women, they can't do this, they can't do that, blah blah blah, whatever, you know. It's almost like the women are cast down, you know what I'm saying? But the way that Rich speaks about you and the way that he talks about what he was taught, how to treat a woman, how to be the man of the house, those are the type of things that need to be broadcasted more. People need to know about that. So I really appreciate you, both of y'all, speaking about how it looks in your house, you know, and hopefully some other people will catch on, be like, maybe we need to learn more about the Muslim faith so that even if I don't convert to being a Muslim, the principles that they teach on being a good person, a person of value or whatever, maybe we could incorporate that in our home or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate that. That was those were nuggets that I hope other people also got.
And I'll just share that. In the Bible, the greatest commandment was love thy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot love your neighbor if you don't know your neighbor.
Yeah.
Right.
Facts.
And I remember when I was in the military, and I think, Rich, I may have told you this in the past. I was a young guy in the military, in the war. We were, it was Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and there was a lot going on back then. There was a lot of misconceptions about what it meant to be Muslim. You know, CNN was blowing up stuff, you know, just putting a lot out there. And I'll never forget this. And I'm going to say his name because I love this brother to this day. He's actually out of the Bay Area, too. There was an officer, young guy that I was training, and his name was Salim Kadir. And so I just started asking Salim, you know, like, how is it that you're Muslim, but you're in the military and you're doing this, and everybody's talking behind your back and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, you know, you should read this book. And he gave me a copy of Understanding Islam. And when I started just reading that, I was like, okay, this is not.
That ain't what they told us.
This is not what I'm seeing, you know, when we're in the day room and the TV's going and
Right.
what people are saying, and it was completely different. And that was the beginning of, you know, I guess my journey to understand others.
Yeah.
Because it was such a stark contrast to what I had been led to believe.
Yeah.
And so I just want to share this. I don't want to keep you guys any longer, but I do want to say this for all of you that are listening. I hope this was, if nothing else, a start to an evolution of thought. to understand that we need to love each other, and that there are some amazing relationships that are a little different, or so we believe. But you're going to find that just like everything else, we are so much more alike than we are different.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank both of you for coming on here and sharing something that's very personal. Talking about your marriage is personal, but then really talking about your faith, I mean, that's just taking it to a whole other level. I just want to thank you guys. Go ahead.
Hey, Ernie, can I just share some? The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had a conversation with Cuba Gooding Jr. And Cuba Gooding was at wherever the minister was speaking and spoke to him afterwards, to let celebrities come and have a one-on-one. And Cuba was in tears after he heard the atrocity that happened to our people. And he was in tears and said, but the minister, I'm conflicted. My wife is Caucasian. She's a white woman. And I'm a little torn. And the minister held him softly, and I'm repeating it as he said it, hugged him and said, brother, love doesn't have a color. God created us all. Just because the people, her lineage was one way doesn't mean she is.
That's right.
And she doesn't owe for that debt if she's loving you righteously. And he said, if you have the basic principles when you meet other people of nationalities or faith, what do you want for your family? I want my woman respected. I want my children protected when they go in the world. I want to be looked at as a man and only a man. Call me by my name. Don't describe me by any other tone other than Richard who lives at that house. You don't have to describe me with no other description. And if we could do that, your religion means nothing to me, because I know Ernie that lives at XYZ house, and we respect his wife and his kids when they walk the street. We make sure they're protected, they're safe. No one's going to run them over or try to snatch them. When we could live like that, that would become a religion, right? Because Islam is a way of life. It's not a traditional religion. It's more of a pathway to live righteous. And Islam is just the name that was given to it. So when we could find the middle ground for man and woman of what we need, then we'll all be in a better place.
That's so good.
That's right.
And lastly, too, I think, to any Christian woman out there conflicted in these moments, I think it really, again, comes down to a matter of respecting that faith. This is an interfaith, but we pray together, we read our word together. I'll listen to his Farrakhan with him, the minister Farrakhan with him, and we ask questions, but we don't try to convert one another. It's all about respect, and it's all about really just being able to me, quite honestly, we are equally yoked in a lot of ways, in a lot of those ways. And faith is not one thing that we argue about. It's something that we just held to the highest respect for one another. And that I couldn't ask for a better husband in that regard. If this is the way God was gonna have us go, I'm grateful that this is one, and I'm learning, just like you, Ernie, like you said, it opened my eyes a great deal, and I can transparently say I was prejudiced up until that point of what the Nation of Islam and Muslim was, and not that I showed anybody any disrespect. It's just something I didn't really touch. I didn't really go out of my way to learn, and so where I have no desire necessarily to convert, God is God in our house at the end of the day, and I'm grateful for that.
Amen.
Amen. Well, look, I hope everyone enjoyed this conversation, and I hope it's going to spark further conversation in your homes, and more importantly, in your communities. If you know somebody that you believe this conversation will touch or help provide some illumination or spark further conversation, please refer them to this episode, share this with them, share it on your social media, put it out there, because you know what? We just want you to love your neighbor. Mm-hmm. That means you have to get to know your neighbor. Mm-hmm. We don't want you shunning a couple out there because they might have interfaith. Right? Like, oh, okay, well they've crossed the line or what have you. No, there's none of that. Look for God in the gestures, and more importantly, pay attention to how people are living as opposed to what they say or what they quote to you. Mm-hmm. So based on that, like we always say, until the next time.
That was so abrupt.
Because she does this every time I try and close out. 'Cause I'm trying not to have a 2-hour podcast.
Anyway, good Lord.
She does it
Okay,
every
y'all.
time.
I just want to say thank you again. We didn't even do that part. Just thank
what-
you again for spending time with us and dropping some knowledge. And furthermore, make sure all y'all out there go on to marriedandcrazy.com, get the tickets.
Get your tickets.
We'll be there.
We'll be there. We got family and cousins coming.
Y'all can ask about all the faith questions that didn't get asked
Right,
tonight.
that
Feel
part,
free.
Rich. That
Come on.
part. Yeah,
Come and
let's
talk to
go.
Come meet the celebrity couple that will talk to you and let you know.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Come and talk to us. I'm there.
In between them 2 steps, because we're going to be out there stepping.
What? Come
It was
on.
a great time last year. We had so many people sign
We had a
up.
ball.
So I can attest. Get your tickets. It's a great time.
It'll be fun.
Yes.
We'll be
Can I
there.
say it now? Can I say it now?
Now you can say it.
Permission
Until the next
approved.
time,
Be blessed. Bye-bye.
Hold on.
Thank you for listening to the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.